Captain Coral and the Sea of Whispers Part 1. The Starfish Crown sets sail. The port town of Seabright Haven was unlike any other. Here, stories clung to the salty air like dew on cobblestones, and every alleyway seemed to hum with secrets. Lanterns dangled from crooked signposts, swaying gently in the wind, casting amber puddles on the streets below. By day, the harbor glittered with sails of every hue: red merchant ships heavy with fragrant spices, blue fishing boats dripping silver-scaled catch, and battered pirate vessels that creaked like restless ghosts. By night, the town transformed into a glowing maze of laughter, fiddles, and whispered promises, each one tinged with salt and adventure. Sailors swore they had seen impossible things: glass ships that shimmered in moonlight, islands that moved when no one watched, and whales whose glowing backs lit the water like lanterns. Children chased fireflies along the docks, their laughter mingling with the cries of gulls that swooped like mischievous tricksters. It was in this world of chaos and wonder that Captain Coral first appeared. The captain. Coral was young, but her eyes carried the sharp edge of someone who had already faced more storms than most could survive. Her hair, a wild cascade of fiery sunset, whipped in the wind as if it belonged to the sea itself. A scar traced her cheek, a quiet testament to a duel she had fought, not in anger, but in defiance of those who underestimated her. She had not been born to piracy. Once, she had been the daughter of a humble fisherman in Tidebreaker Cove, a small, quiet cove where the tides rolled gently and the sea whispered lullabies. Her father had taught her the names of every shell, how to read the clouds, and the secret songs of the waves. But the sea, ever fickle, had claimed him during a storm too fierce for nets or prayers. Since that day, Coral carried the ocean in her heart, a pulse that was both freedom and danger. She did not hate it. She could not. The call of the open water was irresistible, a promise that somewhere beyond the horizon, a secret waited to be discovered. The Market of Whispers. On the morning that would begin her greatest adventure, Coral wandered the bustling market streets of Seabright Haven. Stalls overflowed with dried starfruit, jars of shimmering jellyfish ink, coiled ropes that twitched as though alive, and nets woven with tiny crystals that caught the sun. Dockhands shouted bargains in languages that twisted like ribbons around the salty air. Children darted between barrels, chasing chickens that strutted as if they owned the place. Everywhere Coral looked, she felt the pulse of hearts seeking adventure. She needed more than swords and sails. She needed companions whose hearts beat for something beyond gold, hearts like hers, drawn to the sea's whispers. Finn the drummer. Her first stop was the Driftwood Tavern, a chaotic hub where adventurers, sailors, and rogues gathered. The smell of roasted fish mixed with lantern smoke, laughter, and music. Among the chaos, a thin boy sat cross-legged on a barrel, drumming on a drum that seemed far too large for him. The rhythm he played cut through the tavern's noise, strange and hypnotic, sometimes sharp as gull wings, sometimes deep as rolling thunder. The rowdiest patrons swayed to it instead of fighting. Coral approached, curiosity in every step. Is that magic or talent? The boy's dark eyes met hers. Does it matter? Not to me. They say the sea listens to rhythm, he said, letting the beat slow to a heartbeat. Play the right one, and you can guide the tide. I've seen sharks turn away when I drum. Mostly, it just keeps the world in check. Coral smiled and held out her hand. Then drum for me, Finn. I have a ship waiting, and the sea will not always be kind. He hesitated for a heartbeat, then gripped her hand. And just like that, Finn joined the crew. Luma the Lantern Girl. Later, Coral wandered the docks where lanterns swayed over black water like floating stars. There, sitting alone on a wooden crate, was a girl holding a jar that shimmered with pale blue light. The girl's name was Luma, and her eyes carried unspoken secrets. "That's no ordinary lantern," Coral whispered. "It's called the Tideflame," Luma replied softly. "My grandmother caught it in the shallows the night I was born. It's not fire, not water, something in between." The jar pulls gently, almost alive, as if approving of the bond forming between them. "If I sail with you," Luma said, "promise me one thing. If I am ever lost, you return it to the sea." "I promise," Coral said, her voice heavy with truth. The lantern girl had joined the crew. Old Snapjaw, the last companion, arrived in the most unexpected way. As Coral, Finn, and Luma loaded supplies onto the Starfish Crown, a loud, indignant voice rang out. "Oi, watch your step, you clumsy humans. Nearly crushed my claw." "You did." A small crab, wearing a patched shell decorated with rope and beads, scuttled forward. "I am Old Snapjaw," he declared, clicking his claws. "I know the tides, the storms, the currents. Without me, you'll wander blind." Coral laughed. "Then welcome aboard." Snapjaw climbed onto her shoulder with pride, clicking with delight. The first whisper. By nightfall, the crew stood at the bow of the Starfish Crown, watching the harbor fade into darkness. Stars reflected in the calm sea, but beneath the surface, a low, mysterious hum curled through the waves. Find me, it whispered. Finn froze. Luma clutched her jar tighter. Snapjaw clicked nervously. Coral's eyes narrowed with determination. "Then let's answer." And so, with stars above and whispers below, the Starfish Crown sailed into legend. Ending of Part 1. The Starfish Crown sets sail. The Starfish Crown glided across the moonlit waves, its sails catching a gentle, silver breeze. Coral stood at the bow, her hair streaming behind her like a banner of fire and courage. Finn tapped a quiet rhythm on his drum, a heartbeat to match the pulse of the sea. Luma held her glowing Tideflame jar, its light flickering across the water like captured stars. And Old Snapjaw clicked softly, surveying the horizon with a wisdom that belied his small size. For a moment, all was calm. The harbor, the bustling port, and the laughter of Seabright Haven seemed a lifetime away. Ahead lay the unknown, filled with mysteries, treasures, and dangers only whispered about in sailor tales. But Coral knew one thing. She was not alone. With her friends at her side, no wave was too high, no storm too fierce, and no secret too deep for them to face together. As the stars reflected in the calm waters, Coral smiled and whispered to her crew, "This is only the beginning. The sea has many stories to tell, and we will be part of them all." Moral of the story: this adventure reminds us that true treasure is not gold or jewels, but friendship, courage, and the willingness to face the unknown together. Every heart that beats with hope and bravery can sail beyond any horizon. Stay connected with the adventure. If you enjoyed sailing with Captain Coral and her magical crew, don't forget to subscribe to Sukaw Shorts and hit the bell icon to follow their journey across the Sea of Whispers. Each episode brings new adventures, laughter, and magical discoveries. Share the story, invite your friends, and join the crew because the best adventures are the ones we experience together.